What's up? Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. How you guys doing? Get this screen going here. Give me a second, guys. There we go. Good morning. Let's go. HVV in heaven. Good morning. Mario, good morning. Let me zoom in here so I'm not squinting to see this tiny text on my screen. Ron's, Dave, good morning. Damien, Blair, good morning. Good morning. Welcome in. A lot of familiar names coming in. Tessa, good morning. George, good morning. Welcome in, guys. Hope you guys are having a good week. Nicole, Chris, happy to be here with you too, man. Welcome in. Dimitar, good morning. Good morning. Gusta Forex, good morning. Renatapa, man, you guys have some screen names that are hard to pronounce. Good morning. CG Macro Markets, good morning. Andy G, good morning. Little B, good morning. It's Matt, not Mark, but it's okay. I've been called Mark so many times. I don't know why. I guess it's a similar name, Matt, Mark. Mohib Alchi 8946. Good morning, mate. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hope you guys are doing good. So how are you guys doing this February? How are you guys surviving this sideways market conditions, huh? Very sideways. For me, it's been very, very important to stay super patient and not get caught up in the chop in the middle. Good morning, Mohammed. Good morning. Samos, good morning. Yeah, so it's been very much a test of patience this month, has it not? At least for me, for what I trade. I primarily trade ES and NQ, SPY and QQQ, S&P and the NASDAQ. You're cooked? Oh, I hope you're not cooked. So, if you guys aren't already aware, I highly recommend checking out the Chart Fanatics Discord. I shared my game plan in there as well as far as the analysis that I'm watching out for here this morning. So if you check out the Chart Fanatics Discord under the Matt Owen channel, you will see kind of some screenshots of my charts, things that I'm watching. But we'll go through the game plan here live, and I'll share with you guys some of the things that I'm watching out for, potential trade scenarios. Honestly, we've kind of already had a pretty decent move overnight. We've had a nice base drop structure. Yeah, teaser, we might have another webinar too as well. So there's a ton of information coming in there in Chart Fanatics Discord. It's free to join. Check it out. That's where you'll see my game plan and stuff. Good morning. Good morning. BC Legends TV. What's up, man? Latte's right here, man. It's all good. I'm still rocking these Christmas cups, gingerbread. I don't know. I like them. They're nice. They got a nice thick weight to them. Got them around Christmas time, and I just keep using them. Yep, iced latte is pumping. Good morning. All right, so before we get into it, a quick shout out to our sponsors here. We've got some great partnership deals with some of these prop firms to get you guys the best discounts. We will also have some giveaways coming this stream. So as always, stay tuned for that. We're going to have Apex giveaways, Alpha Capital giveaways, and a 6-month TradeZella account giveaway. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Check out the discount links from these partners here. They'll be on throughout the stream, so you can check that out there as well. So let's get into some analysis. This is my bookmap screen, by the way, if you guys are new to my streams. This is my preferred order flow analysis tool. I also use things like footprint charts and range bars, right? But this DOM and bookmap is my favorite tool right now to kind of go through and read and analyze the order flow live as it comes into the market. Marco, what's up, man? Welcome in the chat. How you hanging in there this month, Marco? Whole team's in here today. Whole team. All right, so this is my preferred tool for order flow analysis. I use that more for entry confirmations and context, right? But we'll get into some of my charts here to kind of go through the analysis. And I like to just start out at a very much higher time frame. So I'll look through ES and NQ here to kind of go through my game plan, what I'm watching out for. Ooh, hang on. Let me fix the view here. Honestly, don't have too many levels that I'm watching. I'm staying pretty much uninvolved in the middle here. Ending the week strong. Yes, sir. Let's go. Ending the week strong by just following our system, following our setups, following our game plans day in and day out. No expectation on short-term outcomes, right? So let's take a look here. My ES chart. So just looking at a weekly chart here, it's just a straight up full weekly chart on ES. You can see basically going back to, oh, you know what? I didn't get the dates on the bottom. Hang on. So basically going back to October, you can see we've kind of been grinding higher, but honestly, we've mostly been sideways in this range here. So kind of between these highs, under 7,000, that's been a key resistance area up there at those highs. And this key support area has been one here around 6,800. And then also we have a couple key lows here, which I'm also watching for down near 6,600. Right, but in the near term, this area kind of around 6,750 to 6,800 has been the low end of the extreme. In recent weeks, we've also kind of been forming a couple lows here, just above 6,800 a bit, and you can kind of see I drew this wedge that we're starting to form here, which we can. I drew this on the daily time frame, but we can even see it here on the weekly time frame here. That we're kind of sideways, not kind of, we're very sideways in this range. And you can see how we're kind of forming a wedge here as price kind of narrows into this range. Had a nice strong break over the consolidation that we had been in for kind of 2 weeks now, but ultimately rejected at this lower high trend line, dropped all the way back into the lows of this bounce range, which is a pretty strong sign of weakness. Thanks for tuning in, Marco. Capital Preservation Friday, absolutely. I'm a big believer in that. Capital Preservation Friday. I like that. I haven't heard that said, but that basically sums up how I approach Fridays. Capital Preservation Friday. I like that. Did you come up with that, Marco? That's a good one. So that's the weekly chart here on ES. I'll drop these screenshots if you guys want in the Chart Fanatics Discord. So you guys can check out what I'm talking about here if you guys are interested. All right, let me drop this down. Oh, let's take a look at NQ as well. NQ has been relatively weaker, just given the weakness of some sectors that have been hit especially hard by AI fears, specifically software. But you can see we've basically been resisting under this area around 26,000, and we've been supporting this area kind of around 24.5 multiple times. You can see just, basically going all the way back to October. We've been just in that range there, right? So best thing to do on a macro visual time frame here and even intraday is to look at the extremes when we form ranges and be very cautious of getting overactive and over analyzing things in the middle of a range, right? So that's that higher time frame range that I'm watching out for here over the last couple months on NQ. I promise I'll get a lot more detailed going into the analysis here for this kind of more specifics that I'm watching out for today. But I like to go through kind of overall analysis first. So daily chart here is where things are a little interesting. Let me pull this up. Take a look at NQ first this time, right? So checking out this daily chart here, you can see how we had this the first week of February, we had a decent sell-off, but since then we basically traded flat sideways in this pretty narrow range here, between roughly like 25,140 and 25,178-ish, roughly. Those are the extremes, but just a bit above that, actually. So like 24,600-ish above that. You can see this range. Now, the market tried to break out an auction higher yesterday, 2 days ago, rather. Right, so we had a nice strong breakout and came into these prior week highs and failed. So when I see us have a consolidation range like this and we fail to auction higher and we drop back into the previous consolidation range, that is a pretty definite sign of weakness. The only problem is, we're seeing this weakness, but we're coming into these lows of this higher time frame range that has just been repeatedly supported. So it's a little bit of a tricky location where, you know, we are seeing a lot of signs of weakness, especially how we had this consolidation range right here. The market tried to break out of that and then failed and rejected back in to this balance range, even all the way kind of towards the lows, right? So that is, in the near term, a definite sign of weakness. Anytime I see a balance range form and we try to break out and we fail back into that balance range, it's a definite sign that the market is failing to break out, failing to auction higher, especially how we took out prior highs, failed to capture there. So there's definitely a lot of heaviness in the market, right? And that comes both technically and fundamentally. We've got different things around AI fears, geopolitics with Iran in the US. So there's just a lot of heaviness in the air in the markets, right? Nonetheless, you know, it's still back inside the middle of this range. So I want to be kind of cautious here this morning, executing in the middle of this, right? I'll get a little bit more specific here, but just note that this range here is kind of a difficult spot, right? Because we tried to break out, we failed to auction above it. That's a sign of weakness. However, you know, I want to be careful at the lows of this balance range. I could easily, you know, shoot higher, you know, stop out people that are shorting late, chasing the lows, right? So watching out for that. It'll make more sense when I pull up some volume profiles to talk through what I'm looking at here. Right. So you look at ES, very similar. There's just been a little bit more relative weakness on NQ since software has gotten hit so hard this year, right? So higher time frame, you can see we've been basically in this range here. But recently, we've been forming these lower highs where I have this trend line here where we rejected. But over the last 2 weeks, we were consolidating in the sideways range here, similar to NQ. We tried to break out, similar to NQ. We failed at really the first technical place that sellers would want to reload, which was this kind of supply area where we consolidated and dropped, this lower high trend line. That was like the first key spot that buyers would want to recapture and sellers would want to reject, and boy did sellers reject, right? So dropping back down here now, back into this consolidation range again. That is definite weakness in terms of context, kind of coming into the session this morning, right? How we failed to break out. Now we've already kind of dropped, based, and then dropped again, so we've already kind of had a decently extended move down, which makes it again a little tricky for me going into this morning, where we've already dropped, base dropped, coming into the lows of this prior balance range. Makes it a little tricky for me to try to now chase shorts here until we see like a break and continuation where pops fail under that. Right. So definite signs of weakness, but the market's already dropped back into this balance range towards the lows of it. So it's a key area that we could see bounces from, which makes it a little tough for me to initiate shorts down here. Not saying I won't for scalps, but I'm going to be cautious and definitely not wanting to chase entries on the lows without seeing some kind of pops into a key area. Yeah, the Gavin Hoffman, that was the daily time frame, and that screenshot is dropped in the Chart Fanatics Discord. One sec. All right. So next thing I'm going to take a look at here is volume profiles. So I drew this volume profile basically over the 4-hour chart on the whole month. So this is going back to the beginning of February. And we've basically had a pretty large just balance range over the month of February. And you can see that with this bell curve of volume distribution, and this point of control being in the middle, roughly around 68.80. So like I was talking about, this was kind of that last key supply area on ES up here near 7,000 to like 69.70 roughly, right? Where price previously consolidated and then broke down, right? So it's kind of what I would look at as like a supply zone. It was also aligning with that lower high trend line, if you guys remember from just a minute ago, and we rejected there pretty aggressively, right? And so not super ideal to see bulls not be able to hold above like this prior consolidation highs here, right? So, you know, a strong breakout after consolidation, especially 2 weeks of consolidation here, you would really ideally want to see bulls defend near the highs of that to show, you know, continuation of the trend higher. However, that got super rejected, super duper rejected. So this is kind of that range again, kind of within this whole value area here from the month of February, which we can see highlighted in yellow on my volume profile, right? Inside of that, it's just been wiki up and down, right? Sideways chop. Could AI become the dominant force in trading, making human traders redundant? I don't know, man. I have no idea. It'd be impossible to predict, but I think it's very important for everyone to become very good at learning and using AI tools to aid their trading. And I think traders that don't use it to learn metrics on their trading, get insights on their trade setups, get insights on everything. If you're at least not using it as a human trader, you're going to be disadvantaged. I think there's going to be more and more AI type aid tools to help the human individual trader. And we're already seeing them come out more and more. So looking at these lows here, this is that, you know, kind of key area of support down here at these lows. And so between here and here, this is kind of the extremes of this balance range from the month of February. So when I see that form, I typically look for failures at the extremes to target back towards the middle. Again, I feel like I've talked a lot about this a lot this month because it continues to be the thing to play, right? Continues to be the thing to play. So on this drop down here, this is why, you know, I have a tough time initiating shorts as we come towards the low of this range, just because it's very likely, you know, we could see fake outs under prior lows get quickly reversed back up towards the middle, right? So as far as initiating shorts, now that we're back towards the lows of this range, right? It's not clearly like a bear market where we're downtrending. We're pretty much sideways, right, overall. So when we're pretty much sideways overall, you know, initiating a position for continuation like shorts at the lows it can work eventually, but it will likely fail many times before it works as we continue to kind of mean revert in this sideways range, right? So those are kind of the extremes that I'm watching here. You can see on the 4-hour chart. Let's take a look at that on NQ. So looking at the chart here on NQ, you can kind of see the same thing, which is this range that we've been in, bell curve volume distribution with a little bit of a buildup here because I included this consolidation range at these highs where we attempted to break out and rejected back in. Those were those prior week highs that I talked about where we failed to break out and then dropped back inside this balance range here, which we're currently trading in the middle, kind of under the point of control, under 50% of this range here. So watching out for that. Again, let me get rid of some stuff. Kind of watching these extremes here, right? These prior lows around 24.7 to 24.6, and these highs up here under that drop, right? So those are kind of the extremes that I'm watching out for. I'd also watch out for these areas here above these overnight highs. If we reject from there back in to the downside, I don't really see too much until we get at least a little further down here towards this value area low and this area where we bounced pretty aggressively from before. Right? Pull up my Sierra chart. So market is opening in a couple minutes, guys. We also do have, what is it? PMI, Chicago PMI news at 9:45. So we need to be mindful of volatility that comes in around then. Okay. All right, so here's a 30-minute chart with my volume profiles drawn here on Sierra chart. And so this is where I start to get a lot more interested in specific trade setups. So again, you can see this area down here where we had this, this consolidation at the lows. You can see all the volume built up here that we then rallied out of. I actually traded longs off these lows that hit into this area yesterday. However, we since hit this low volume node up here, which I was actually targeting with my longs. That has since rejected. We made lower highs overnight. So continued weakness, right? So if this continues to turn into a downtrending move where we now break the lows of this balance range, there's some areas that I would watch for failed bounces, which is one, the area around this low volume node here, kind of around 68.70s. Actually, let me just kind of draw, right? So under the value area low there and this whole kind of low volume, you can see we already kind of retraced there a little bit and rejected, right? So that's a key spot to watch and that also kind of aligns with prior day lows there that we broke through pretty aggressively, a lot of aggressive selling on that breakthrough there. So that's a key spot to watch, as well as now if we drop in to this prior consolidation area here and we find demand, we find a lot of aggressive buying here, then we may be able to use that as a long scenario and maybe target this low volume node or target, back towards this point of control back around 6,900 if we get a significant amount of buying defending these lows in this kind of demand area, if you could call it, at the lows of this balance range. So if we continue to pop and fail there, I may look for shorts there for continuation into this demand area. Or if we drop down in here and find significant support, I may use it for a long area to then target one of these areas. If we do pop and break over kind of this area, the next key area that I see to the upside is kind of this area here, where we see that low volume area where sellers were very aggressive. We dropped through there yesterday very fast, very aggressively, and that also kind of aligns with the bottom of this value area from the day prior, where we had this kind of volume shelf here from this overnight rally. So if we do come up there, that would be a key spot to gauge, kind of back around 69.20 to 40-ish area roughly. So If we pop up into there and fail back down, that could be another reversal point. Or if we manage to rally and get strong back above there, we may be going back towards the highs for a high breakout of this range. There we go. I'm blowing up the Discord chat with these screenshots. Sorry, guys, in Chart Fanatics. I'm gonna stay pretty patient though this session. So here it is. We're opening up. The game plan is very similar as well on NQ. We didn't talk about that much. We're opening up right around these lows though, where we would want to see buyers defend, and we have that wedge trend line to the downside is currently sitting here around 68.37, 68.40s. Decent amount of volume built up at these lows though here in the pre-market. Tell you what, if we do fail here in the early going with all that buying under that low volume node, let me be specific here. That low volume from the overnight selling that broke the prior day lows is right around like 68.67 to 68.73. So 5-6 point range area there, where those very aggressive sellers broke prior day lows overnight in the pre-market here. Just before/on the 8:30 news, which you can see over here. Let me draw that area that I'm talking about on book map here. So you can see that heavy selling that came into those lows there, that area. And we've actually rejected under there here already 1, 2, 3, 4 times now. Look at NQ. Similar area there, breaking down on NQ. All right, sorry guys, I've been neglecting the chat, trying to go through all this analysis. I had a lot to go through in a short amount of time here this morning. Yeah, news at 9:45, correct. Where to start learning order flow from? There's a lot of great places, man. I think a great thing that's coming out is the Chart Academy. So if you're not already signed up for that, pre-signed up, I would check that out because there's going to be a lot coming out on there. Do you guys have the sign up link for that Chart Academy, guys? Chart Fanatics team? I don't have the link for it on hand, but I would check that out. And that's going to be a free training resource from Chart Academy. Man, I still keep thinking about that from Marco. Chart Capital Preservation Friday. I like that. A lot of people get into this cycle where maybe they're small green or break even on the week and they want to like make it an amazing week all in one trade on Friday, or you know, they're down on the week and they want to make it all back before the end of the week on Friday. And so many people have that emotional pressure one way or the other somehow and end up just blowing themselves up on Friday. So still just kind of flirting sideways here since 8:30 in this range. We're rejecting under this, low volume node that we broke prior day lows. So right under prior day lows, right around 68.70, 68.75 area. If we recapture back above that, then that could be a sign that we, if we recapture back above like 70 to 75 and hold pullbacks above there, we could retrace back up towards 6,900. There we go. Chart Academy. Sign up there. I generally don't like to jump in trades in like the first 5 minutes. It's just too unpredictable. Surge in volume and volatility. Rarely do I like to jump in a trade in the first couple minutes of the 9:30 open. Yeah, so we're kind of at a point where we're between a rock and a hard place a little bit. Let me explain what I mean. So we're kind of at this point here on the S&P where we're at this area that's been repeatedly supported as demand, the lows of this balance range from the last 2 weeks. But also at the same time, we already failed to break out of it. We've seen a lot of heavy aggressive selling where we dropped into it. So there's a lot of downside pressure and weakness, but we're also at this area that's repeatedly been defended by bulls over the last 2 weeks. So that makes it a little tough, right? You don't want to you don't want to go against the momentum that's built to the downside, right? Bears have a lot of downside momentum built right now, right? So pops are failing, we're making lower highs. We already failed to break out the highs of the balance range. So there's a lot of momentum to the downside right now. But also at the same time, I'm really hesitant to chase shorts at this time down into the lows of this 2-week balance range that, has repeatedly seen a significant amount of aggressive buying. Every time we've dropped down there, we've bounced back towards the middle, back towards the highs. So that's why I'm kind of 50-50 here, kind of opening up this morning. It would have been nice to be involved if we had that basing period during regular trading hours, but we kind of based overnight and then already had that continuation leg down back into the lows of the balance range. So now it's kind of momentum is kind of building to the downside, but we're coming into a key area that's been repeatedly supported over the last 2 weeks. So it's a little bit of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. Large passive buy order down at the 68.50s. Yeah, I see that. It's talking about this dark spot on the heat map down here. This does just still look heavy. Look at all this aggressive buying this morning. So since 8:30 this morning, we have seen a lot of aggressive buying again and again, and it's failed to get really any kind of movement, right? Look at all the aggressive buying in that range, right? It's just failed to get any continuation higher. But I guess you could also say the same thing. Look at all the aggressive selling into these lows. That's kind of failing to get any kind of movement to the downside, right? So that's what I mean here. We're kind of between a rock and a hard place. And if I look at my chart here on my 30-minute volume profile, you can see how much it's just pressure is just building. It may very well break one way or the other, but right now need to stay very patient. Look at all this volume built here in this very tight range, right? So we already dropped, dropped all this way, and then just look at all this volume building here, right? So I would wait to kind of see, do buyers recapture this and we go back up towards 6,900, or do sellers break this down and hold under, and we're likely going to trade towards prior lows. but I'd avoid getting chopped up here this morning, guys. I'd avoid getting chopped up in this. Chat. If it's a passive order here below price, then it's buy, a passive buyer. If it's above price up here, it's a passive seller. I actually could be wrong here. I'm not sure if there's like, if this shows like sell if touched orders, like I don't think so. I think this is, you know, below price passive buyer, above price passive seller. At least that's how I usually see it filled. But I guess some people could place, like if they're looking for a breakout, you know, sell if touched kind of below here or above there, buy if touched. But you can see if I hover over it here, you see bid 111 at 68.49.75, bid 125, 68.50. So these are all bids on the heat map here. Bid, 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 bid. And then ask up here. You see it when I hover over price. You can see the bid and ask orders. Absolutely. You know, just because this is a passive buyer here, we don't really know what, you know, what their intent is here. And just because you see absorption, right, from passive buyers or sellers doesn't mean that's going to always reverse the market there. If aggressive selling comes down into here and just saturates through these passive buyers and there's no more passive buyers, then, you know, we could break, like this is a floor, but it's a floor made out of glass, right? We could shatter that and crush through there with aggressive selling if that happens. Yeah, this is a great time for questions from the team. We're kind of sitting sideways here. I'm staying very patient. It's a Friday. I had a good day yesterday. Had a nice winning trade on NQ and a nice bigger winning trade on SPY call options from the lows. You guys might learn a setup from me if you're in the Chart Fanatics Discord. We may have an upcoming webinar next week where I may or may not teach you guys some very cool stuff in trade setup. Yeah, we got 3 minutes till news here, so it's just going to be a little unfortunate if we, and likely we will, just get the break out of this range. So here it is right now. You see that passive buyer filled, but look at all that aggressive selling coming into it, right? So yes, there's a passive buyer here. However, there's a ton of aggressive selling came into it and kind of broke through it. Now we need to see the reaction after, and we're going to get a violent reaction here, likely because the news is about to come out. So it can flip on a, you know, it's a total coin flip here, guys. I'm not trying to trade that, but I'm just explaining what's happening on the order flow here so you see it for yourself. So yes, we had a passive bid here, 400 lots positive. So there's a positive 400 lot passive buyer here that got filled, but there was so much aggressive selling that filled, and we kept dropping through it because more aggressive selling is still coming in, right? So that's important when you're looking at absorption reversals, is to not just see like one print like this and be like, oh, that's the bottom, I'm immediately going long because I saw absorption here, right? Well, that was just one, you know, yes, it was a large passive buyer. However, what was the reaction after that? Continued aggressive selling, continue to push through. Now, it would be more interesting if we recapture back above that around the 68.50, especially after the news, and then that then continues to support pullbacks back above. That would be interesting. But you don't want to see like one bubble like this, one big absorption order like this, and then just try to enter a trade off of it. That is a recipe for it just taking a lot of paper cuts. So we got to watch this and see. We're still kind of right in that big range, not big, pretty tight range of volume consolidation between like 68.50 and 68.65, 66. So here's the 9:45 news. I think there's a little bit more. Let me check my economic calendar. I think there's some more at 10 a.m., but I think the big one was just this 9:45 really. I'm watching it with you guys. Let's take a look at NQ. NQ's bouncing a little more aggressively back up towards the highs. NQ kind of faked out under these lows, under 24,800, having a quicker, more aggressive bounce back up into the highs. ES kind of lagging. What's IGV doing? So IGV is the software index. I was going to say the last time I looked at it yesterday morning, it was looking strong. But now it's dropped back down pretty hard. There's a key area around 80 that I've been watching as kind of a line in the sand, where if bulls would want to defend above that and bears would want to defend below that. And what this is the software kind of ETF for a lot of leading software names. It's been hit super, super hard this year, right? So that's been a leading cause of downside pressure on NQ, which has also been the leader of ES and NQ leading to the downside. A lot of that has been due to this software sector being hit so hard. So if and when we kind of find a bottom and start to rally off that, that's going to take a lot of pressure off NQ, unless another sector flips super weak and drags it down. But if the weakest thing that's been dragging the index down starts to get traction back to the upside, then that's going to take a lot of pressure off everything else to kind of continue to move higher. I'm saying if. So here's that spot again, where this large order hit, kind of see what happens here. Remember I said I'd kind of watch it if we do break back above it and then pull back into it, and see the reaction there would be a little bit more interesting. So kind of liking this for a potential long setup here to go back towards the highs. But I kind of want to see more bids step in and defend. We saw one here, but I'd kind of want to see us defend above these 50s. I don't see anything too significant just yet. But if we hold this now, that would be kind of a failure to break under that little pre-market balance range that we talked about. I might have just missed it. Guys. Darn it. Not going to chase it now. I wanted to get an entry right around this area here, right around 50, and I might have just missed it. Because I'd really be targeting these highs right up here, around 68, 65, 66. And that would just be kind of a failure to break under that little balance range, recapture, pull back, hold this key spot where these orders were, and then target these highs. I wasn't fast enough on the trigger here, and now the target's almost hit. We'll see. Maybe we'll double bottom if we pull back down here. Why is Apex not allowed here? I don't know what you mean. I trade a personal account. just by choice. Oh, is Apex allowed in Nigeria? I don't know what the laws are for different countries for prop firms or anything like that, where they're available, where they're not. I have no idea. But I'm sure it's available probably everywhere the company can legally operate. If it's not, then it's something with the laws of some country or something. Yeah, so if we pull back down here, I may still be interested. Again, I liked this kind of break, recapture, and hold. So kind of a failure to break under this pre-market consolidation range with a large passive buyer, recaptured back above that, pulled back and hold into it. That's a setup that I like to look for. I missed the entry on this, just straight up. I was a little tardy to it and I missed the entry. But again, I was just targeting a break back up into these highs. So if it still consolidates here, come back and see strong confirmations. There's a bid popping up here back at this 50. So I'm not going to chase it though. I will absolutely not chase anything in these whippy February conditions. It's just not happening. I'd rather just miss it, just not be involved. It's way, if you chase moves in this whippy sideways action, you're just asking to get blasted with paper cuts. Now, if we do get strength over this range here, again, that would be new information. If we kind of break above these 70, 75s areas and hold a pullback, then I might be interested in that long setup targeting towards 6,900. But I'm not going to enter here in the middle of this until proven that we get strength back above here and hold a pullback. No, I'm not saying I'd rather miss a trade. I will take a trade if I have a good entry location and good confirmation. I will not chase a trade with bad risk versus reward in very sideways market conditions. Right? Because this was my entry, this was my target area, right? If I'm chasing it up here, this is like 1-to-1 as far as target, what my high probability target would be, right? That's a big difference. To me, minimum setup that I'm looking to trade is at least 2-to-1, ideally at least like 2.5-to-1. Even for small scalps that I trade, if it's not at least 2-to-1 for a small scalp, I'm not wasting my time. I don't love here how we're still just stuck in this range and we're seeing like weaker buying multiple times at these highs. See that? 1, 2, 3, weaker and weaker buying at these highs, especially right around VWAP here, is not ideal to see for if you're looking for longs. Yeah, Apex is back to 50% right now. Still a discount, but let's see. What other questions did I miss, guys? Let me know in the chat if you guys had a good question. If I missed it while I was looking at the charts, drop it in there. Let me see. Talk about setups, talk about context, talk about order flow. Let me know. I like to keep my live streams focused on education, you know, regardless of kind of the market conditions and whether I'm taking a trade or not. Take a look here at NQ. NQ honestly looks to be holding up a little bit more. And IGV is really trying to hold a bottom at that 80 level, and that could be adding some life to NQ here. So let me look at NQ. If that's the case, then I may like longs on NQ a little better. You just see how we're holding higher lows a lot more reliably here on NQ. ES is a little more sideways. Do I have a video for settings on Bookmap? I have a reel on Instagram. If you guys connect with me on Instagram, that's kind of the best way to reach out to me. And if you send me messages, I'm pretty responsive there. But I have made a reel on Instagram going over my Bookmap settings. So you can see my Bookmap settings in like 1 minute and copy them for yourself if you're interested. I think it's in my story highlight too on Instagram. I may make a longer form YouTube video on it, but I literally just made that. So here's some aggressive selling coming into this VWAP area just under these prior lows here. It's just so sideways, guys. I feel like I like this long for a possible bounce here. I just, I don't like how it's just so whippy up and down sideways. But I do like this area here if it holds now, especially around VWAP here. But it's just, it looks like a gamble. I don't see a super high quality level or anything here. The biggest orders here, we're back over here. You can see that there. I was right at 930, that's why. Capital Preservation Friday. Let's not do dumb stuff, right? Got a nice aggressive bounce off NQ there. Look at that. So a lot of buying getting unrewarded as of now on ES if you look at cumulative data. Yeah, I agree. That's why I said I would be interested in possibly fading the lows for a pop there if I see those good confirmations back down there around 68.50. But until we actually like break and hold above those highs, above like 70 to 75 area, I'm not taking like a 1-to-1 in the middle of that. And it would not be good probability to try to preempt the breakout to go long before we actually do truly like break above those highs. If we do, right? If we do. Look at that aggressive selling into VWAP here. Bounced straight back. 24,684-ish. This blue line is VWAP. Look at, so you can see how much aggressive selling got absorbed by a passive buyer here into VWAP. When you see that much, like look at, that's like 75% aggressive selling on that bubble there. Failed to break down further from there and shot off of it. That's interesting. And it also held a higher low from the last low down there that dropped a few points lower. What's ES doing? ES is still more dead sideways. Just absolutely dead sideways. So we're still holding above this area here, but at the same time, we're not really getting continuation either. So it's just choppy. Very, very choppy. So if we don't see a good setup with good confirmations, we don't have to trade. We don't. Show you guys something here. This is kind of red flag trading conditions for me. looking at my Sierra chart here. When I see a channel form on a footprint chart, I look at 5 point. Why is it doing that? Come on. It's supposed to be drawn a straight line, but okay. So when I look at it like a 5 point range footprint chart on ES, and I see us kind of just forming a channel, it becomes very choppy and hard to catch an entry like that. I typically just wait and sit out of that, right? And you can see, look at this volume distribution, just bell curve, just very sideways overall. So what happens is you can see some aggressive buying towards the lows, and then you end up chasing it here because you think it's going to go break out, and then it just drops right back down, and then you stop, you know. So it just, be wary chasing the highs of choppy channels like this. Be very wary chasing the highs and lows of a choppy channel like this. Have you talked about what your confirmations are? I have a lot of different ones depending on different type of setup. So if I take a trade and review it, I will. If you look at the past live streams that I've done here on Chart Fanatics, then you'll see, here's some aggressive buying coming in. 10 a.m. I think there's some minor news, not as big of news. IGV is holding strong, so wow, it's kind of popping. So that's going to give some life here, possibly. Look at that. We held still just above this area. NQ ripped. Yeah, NQ ripped. An A+ setup is, you know, a setup that I have already planned. I have context with the direction of the market, location as far as key level, both from technical analysis and order flow, and confirmations that I look for via the order flow on footprint charts. Multiple confirmations from footprint charts, bookmap, things that I look for entry confirmations. So when I have good context, identifies kind of the direction of the market, good location as far as technical analysis and order flow, and good confirmations. When I have all of those, especially multiple confirmations, then it's an A+ trade. There's some buying coming in. Good grief. So we're trying to get above this kind of consolidation range now, but again, still at the highs of it here. Just broke the highs here at the 66s into the 70s. Yeah, this is a pretty brutal chop, guys. That's why I'm sitting cash here still. I'm not getting overly excited from one pump when we've had just dead sideways chop here in the first 30 minutes of the New York Open. Waiting for a 15-minute fair value gap on NQ, and I go short to target the weekly low. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, that would be a good, better confirmation than trying to be fancy and guess what's going to happen next in the middle of a choppy range. That would be better confirmation. So wait for a break that forms like a fair value gap. Wait for a retest that holds, versus getting in the middle because you think you know what's going to happen next, right? Without very good confirmation. Good questions though, guys. Good questions. Keep them coming, because I am not really wanting to touch this choppiness right now. For my intraday trades, right guys, for my intraday trades, I'm usually in and out pretty fast. I scalp trades. And so I typically like to see volatility, momentum, right? And when that's lacking and when it's very, very sideways, it's easy to get sucked in to just taking a lot of paper cuts, and just the conditions are not well suited for, you know, scalping and volatility. When it's very dead sideways, very flat, kind of between some key spots, very wicky, up and down, right? It's not ideal, right? So the more filters that you can have for your trading to figure out what just does not work well, either confirmations, time of day, locations, different things that happen in price action, the more filters to just remove mediocre trades from your portfolio of trades, the better off you're going to be. If you're a scalper, why not trading gold? I've looked at it a little bit, guys. I've been trading the S&P and the NASDAQ for a long time, many years now, and it's just like, I know a lot of people have jumped on the gold thing, but it's just a shiny object to me. It's just a distraction. I'd rather just focus on what I'm good at and keep doing this. So now we're having some nice aggressive buying above these highs, coming into that area. So if we can get above these like 70 to 75 area here and kind of hold a pullback, then I like that for a potential long into 6,900 area. Look at all this aggressive buying. If I zoom out here, just so much aggressive buying this morning. Look at the cumulative delta. A lot of aggressive buying. Just way too choppy to try to scalp an entry off of it. Maybe more of a positioned, wider stop intraday trade, potentially. But look at this aggressive buying coming into these highs now. So if we can get above this area here and get a nice quick pullback, I may be interested in that break, targeting back towards like 6,900. But we're coming again, this level is that low volume node where we had aggressive sellers previously around the 70 area, plus or minus a few points. And it was also kind of this area around prior day lows, around 70, 74-ish area, right? So if we break back above prior day lows, above this low volume node area, and then hold a pullback, that looks a lot more enticing to flip this momentum to the upside, take it long into like 6,900, 68, like 92 prior highs there, 92, 93 into 6,900 would be interesting. Now that we're seeing a lot of large aggressive buying above this key spot here, I like it if we can pull back. If we can pull back, if it just shoots straight, you know, just gonna miss it. But we never got below this 50 guy. Ever since we recovered that, we pulled back here, pulled back, chopped and chopped and chopped, but we just never could get below this 50. Just look at all that buying too. So see if we can get a pullback. Yeah, guys, smash the like button. We're going to have some giveaways coming up. Helps us out a ton if you appreciate the free education, free content here from a lot of great traders on the Chart Fanatics live channel. Helps us out a ton if you smash the like button. And as a thank you for doing that, we will run giveaways a little bit later in the stream. NQ is definitely trying to press a little higher, a little harder. Yeah, we got a pullback. I was looking for a little bit more. That may just cost me not catching it. I was looking a little bit more down towards these 66s, 67s. Dang. To me, I'm in February is very important to focus on very defensive trading, very patient trading. I like this area where this large buying started here around 69, 71. Ideally above these like 66, 67s, right? We started to see this large buying start coming into this area here. It's just gonna go, not enough pullback. Matt is an overall great guy. Appreciate that, Gavin. Appreciate you tuning in here. You're always in here very consistently. Appreciate it. No likes, no winning, people. Correct. Yo, Matt, what's up? I'm gonna be a little sad if this thing just goes and didn't get the pullback to where I wanted. I wanted to see a pullback support here around 67 to like 71s. It was there. I didn't quite take it right there. It was so close. I feel like my neck hurts from watching price action just whip back and forth so hard this month. So I'm very, very cautious and observant when I'm looking for kind of a breakout type trade this month. Can you check NQ? Tell me where I would enter long. NQ is kind of relatively stronger, and I think it's getting some life. Let me check IGV, and that's probably why. Yeah, IGV is getting a nice strong bounce off that key 80 level. But I don't know, because this 25,000 whole number we've already kind of rallied up to here. To me, what stands out is the large orders at the highs here between like 24,875, 24,925 now. So I probably want to see buyers kind of defend where these large orders were hitting here above VWAP. And if we can't hold that and we drop back in there, then it's no bueno for continuation. Seriously, guys, this month I have trust issues with breakouts getting continuation. Even on a higher time frame and just intraday, it's just been so whippy back and forth. It's like if I don't catch it at the extremes this month, I'm very, very kind of risk off from chasing and getting whipped. Just getting absolutely whipped back and forth in this February price action. Price will go higher, Yeeb said. No, it'll go higher or lower or sideways. It'll do one of those. And I don't see, look at that. Look at that. I don't like to see like so much heaviness, heavy selling, on a retracement, like especially in the first hour. If we're looking for a breakout in the first hour, I'd like to see a lot of strength and momentum. And yeah, technically, look at all these bids stepping in. Technically, we are coming back to this area. So I am still watching it. But I don't like the increasing volume of aggressive selling as we pull back here. It doesn't look super hot. Could be wrong, right? But I'm watching it. But I gotta see confirmations that I like to enter on. We're seeing some bids, so that's one thing. Seeing some bids stepping in here. We're right at the top of this prior consolidation range on the volume profile, right around 65, 66. So this is like definitely, we'd want to see buyers try to step in and defend here. Sellers are still just drilling into it. We'll see. So the general thing that I look for on the order flow is effort versus reward, right? If I look at the size and speed of volume as it comes in and how it moves price, which is just a balance of effort and versus reward. Reward being the movement of price in the direction of the aggressive participants, right? So if aggressive buyers are buying with size, it's a little bit discretionary and experience based, like how much and how quickly does price move to the upside? Or if aggressive selling is coming in, so there's a lot of effort from aggressive selling, is it rewarded with price movement or is it absorbed and not rewarded with price movement, right? So as I'm watching like pullbacks and stuff for an entry, I'm looking at that kind of balance of effort versus reward from the aggressive participants. Kind of dropped back a little deeply here. Just it may drop a little more deeply and then bounce. It's just not very clean. We're not really holding cleanly. All right, here's some aggressive buying coming in. There's some aggressive buying. see if we get one more little pullback here now that holds above like the 64s. All right, I'm trying it here at 65-ish, just to stop under like 62. Give it a couple points of risk here. If sellers come and saturate, this is close, as close as I can get to the invalidation point. If sellers break back under here, I don't want to touch this, right? So very close to the invalidation point here for this idea. So I'm going to take it. Nice, strong bit of buying right after my entry there. So aggressive buying has come in, which confirms what I was seeing for my entry. Now it's just got to hold, right? Now it's just kind of out of my control. I saw that coming, right? So I got the entry. Now, does the aggressive buying continue? Do people continue want to aggressively buying for this break of the highs or not? That's kind of out of my control now. I'm looking for a new break of the highs up here around 77s to 80s. Oh, need some water. I don't like how this is fading out here, to be honest with you, but sticking to the idea until proven wrong. It's not fun taking an entry like that, seeing the confirmations that you want to see and then just seeing it die out. Volume just really kind of died out, which is not ideal. I'm looking at the volume of these aggressive buyers at the highs, how we had that nice reaction off my entry, which is what I wanted to see, but then it just fizzled, which is not ideal. All right, now aggressive buying's coming into these highs again. I let it come back on my entry one time. I'm gonna kind of trail my stop a little tighter here to around 65. I'm in at, where did I get filled at here? 66.25. So I actually got in a little later than I wanted. I was trying to mark it in around 65. So I'm in at 66.25. I'm bumping my stop up now to break even. It's kind of my general rule of thumb, especially on these setups where I'm looking for momentum to break out. I'll let it come back on my entry if it's kind of fizzling sideways one time here. And if it fails to break these highs and continue a second time, then I'm going to probably just take the trade off break even. The momentum and volume just died out too much. It's not the same trade as it was when I was looking for it. It's already up, you know. I was risking 66. My stop was around 64 initially. So I was risking 2.5 points and I'm up 5 points. So 5.5 points. So I'm already up 2R based on what I was looking at. So let's see. So I'm already up more than 2R on the trade. So I'm not gonna let this go red at this point. I let it come back on my entry to the tick here one time. And it's just gonna suck to have a 2.5R trade come back break even. But you can see the volume on the bars when I took this here, and then after my entry, look at how thin and just sideways this volume got. I don't love that. For a trade like this where I'm looking for momentum, I don't love that. Don't love that at all. And look at all this buying since my entry here. It's just been all buying on the cumulative volume down here at the lows, and it just died. It's just gone nowhere. So might stop me out break even now. I'm not going to hold it for a loss now after being up 7-8 points on a 2-point risk. I was looking for a break up here into these highs, but might not get it. This sucks. There it is. Break even. That's just annoying. It wasn't at my target. Why didn't I take the 2R win? It wasn't at my target. Looked good here, and then it just totally fizzled. It might still hold here. But I don't love it so much, just given how the lack of continuation from buyers. Like, look at all this aggressive buying at the highs, all this aggressive buying at the highs. It's getting late in the morning now. Late breakouts tend to be fake outs. So it lost the momentum that made it look like a good trade. Yeah, my target was for continuation into the high of day, breakout. I was up 2.5, almost like 3R. Is it gonna got me out to the tick? Watch it rally now. That would just, oh my God, that's February for you. No way. No way. Happens to all of us, guys. Happens to all of us. We'll see what happens. But so since my entry, when we had that nice bit of volatility, just look at the size of the bubbles. The volume just, like, look at all day. We had decent sized bubbles. Look at the bubbles here. And then, got the entry on this trade, and then the volume and volatility just completely just died out. Look at just, bleh. So in my mind, once we're already, 75% of the way to my target, and the volume's just dying out like this, it's not worth holding a red trade on. And it's just going to be unfortunate if it came back one more time, stopped me to the tick after all that volume died out, and then it goes and rallies into my target. That would just be unfortunate. But it happens sometimes, guys. It happens. No, I'm not getting back in. I'm not getting back in the middle of this sideways range. Look, guys. I mean, this is, it's just unfortunate. It is what it is. Like, look how we had nice volatility here. Thought we were going to go up, and then it just totally just flattened out. Maybe my patience ran out, but not really, because my general rule of thumb for these kind of setups is I will let it, if it kind of goes sideways after my entry, I'll let it come back on me one time. But once I'm up here, I'm up like 3R, 2.5, 3R. I'm not going to let it come back for a red trade. It could have easily just swept down to the lows and stopped me out, right? Unfortunately, it kind of held right to the tick at my stop, and it's moving back up. But it's just very, it's very lackluster volume, right? So it's no longer the same confirmations that it was over here, right? Because the volume and volatility has dwindled off. It's very sideways now. So the probabilities just don't look so good to me. It doesn't, it's not, I wouldn't take the trade again just in the sidewaysness here. What's NQ doing? Kind of holding up. That's been a struggle too this month for ES. It's just a lot of sideways grind, and then it finally makes a move, but then like won't come back for a retest. So it's just tough action, no doubt, but I'm not complaining. It's just, it is what it is. This is how I manage the trades, you know, so it is what it is. There's always another setup, right? We don't need to chase anything. Don't need to chase, don't need to, you know, blast yourself up trying to trade what you think should happen. When you see the confirmations, you take the trade, you manage it, you know, how you manage every trade. It was tempting to just cut the trade when I was up, you know, 7-8 points here. But again, I don't like to be in the habit of cutting trades before my target, because my target was really up here at like 77, 79s, break of the highs. All right, guys, let's check the likes. Is it almost time for giveaways? $160, sweet. Can we get 175? Let's auction those likes up to 175. Look at that. And that would have been coming in for my stop here, it looks like. Can we get 175? Huge giveaway today. Is harder to trade in live than in solo. It is very hard to do this, guys. I've been trading for many years before I started doing this to kind of help other people. And it is a lot of pressure to do, you know, it's hard to risk your, like, especially I'm not demo trading or even prop firm trading, which is, you know, not real money, trading real money in my own account. And that it's tough to do, you know, live while you're trying to teach people and stuff. It is hard. It's very hard. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But I try to just do the same things that I would be doing anyway and do my best. I kind of keep, you know, my position sizing smaller. You know, in certain better conditions, I'll, you know, drastically increase my position size, but you know, trading live, and especially in the conditions we've had in February, I've kind of kept my risk to a minimum, just like 1, 2, 3 contracts on ESQ. You know, when conditions are better and as I progress, you know, in my skill of doing the live streaming and trading live, then I'll probably increase position size. But that's the way I'm kind of balancing the difficulty of it personally. Can we hit 200 likes, guys? Can we get 200 likes? Look at that. We dropped all the way back down to VWAP and now we're bouncing. That's what I'm saying, guys. It's just sloppy price action, not respecting levels as well. You know, wiki. That's why I said earlier in the stream a little bit ago when I was looking to take this trade is, you know, I'm pretty defensive and very cautious, like trying to catch these trades this month for breakouts and for momentum, because so many times this month we keep seeing the mean reversions. I've made most of my money this month on mean reversions at the extremes, not this setup where I'm looking for a breakout. Yeah, I'm going to give the giveaway. I'm going to give the instructions here for the giveaways in just a moment. Let me check the likes. Let me check where are we at. Yes, sir. 200. Let me pull it up. All right, so we're gonna run the giveaways here, and ES is gonna run absolutely nowhere because it's dead sideways. We're gonna run the giveaways though. All right. Pull this up. So in the chat, one time and one time only, enter. Are you ready, Anthony? Let me know if you're ready. One time and one time only, exclamation point tape reader in the chat to be entered for the giveaways. Like I said, we've got Apex account, Alpha Capital account, and a 6-month TradeZella subscription account. So one time and one time only, or you will not be chosen. Exclamation point tape reader in the chat. We'll give it just a minute. We'll gather the names together, and then we'll run the giveaways live together. Capital Preservation Fridays. I like that. Capital Preservation Fridays, guys. I don't regret the trade attempt. I think it was a good attempt. I think it just, it lacked volume and volatility after. And actually, you know, we came in and swept those lows, and that has built a little bit more momentum going up into the upside. I didn't catch it down here, but it may have needed that one more fake out dip to kind of build some, you know, build some momentum back up. And that looks like what it's doing now. Unfortunate. Didn't catch it. It's okay. You know, I was basically looking for that dip down here to then and got my entry once we saw the aggressive buying recapture. So actually that same thing happened. We dipped one more time back down to this VWAP level, then recaptured it. I didn't re-enter it, but I could have possibly re-entered once we saw the aggressive buying here, recapture this area around 65, 66 again. So look at this. This is what I was looking for with the first trade entry, guys. This is exactly it. We hit that level down here. We recaptured with aggressive buying. Unfortunately, this one stopped me break even. We did it one more time and then bam, into the highs. So stopping break even afforded me the opportunity to re-enter. But again, I just missed the re-entry here. But we swept out those lows into VWAP one more time, aggressive buying recaptured. So I would have liked this re-entry here at the same place as my last entry, right around 65, 66. I missed the re-entry though, targeting these highs. So literally took a break even on this attempt, the exact same setup. Just hit it again. We swept these lows off VWAP here, recaptured that 65, 66 level with aggressive buying. And this time, bam, into the target right there. What do you do, man? What do you do? All right, guys, we're going to close it here. So it is now closed. And we're going to run the giveaways. Man, that is annoying, guys. That is annoying. I'm not going to lie to you. That is annoying. Exact same entry, exact same thing again here. It fizzled out and went sideways and then stopped me break even, came down, did it one more time, didn't re-enter. Should have if I was watching, but it's okay. And boom, this time right into target. So literally the exact same setup that I just traded a few minutes ago, did not re-enter it, but the dip under there held at VWAP, recaptured that 65, 66 area right here with that aggressive buying, boom, entry there. Like exact same entry I took before. This time it went and hit the target without me. That's all right. Capital Preservation Fridays. All right. I got the list here, guys. 1 second. Guys, the entries are now closed. So let me pull this up. Shrink this down so we can see. All right, so first one coming up. You guys got to be fast. Pay attention. Let me know if you hear your name in the chat. Zing Loop V5R. Zing Loop V5R. Let me know, are you in the chat? Zing Loop V5R. There he is. Yo, congrats. Apex account. Nice. So follow the instructions from the team here. Go over to the Chart Fanatics Discord, to the giveaways tab, and follow the instructions there to claim that Apex account. All right, next one. Sahid 26. Congratulations, Sahid 26. Let me know if you're in the chat. Let me know, Sahid 26. Are you still here? Zing Loop said we need to respin. He's not able to accept the Apex account. Sahid, are you here? Going once. Going twice. There he is. Man, what were you waiting for, Sahid? There he is. Congratulations. You've won the Alpha Capital Group Challenge. Head over to the Chart Fanatics live Discord. It's free to join. Go to the giveaways channel to follow the instructions there. All right. We're going to respin on the Apex account. Team, you see that? All right, so we're going to respin for the Apex account. Now we're going to get that breakout and continuation that I was looking for into 6,900, of course. Just waited till I'm not in it anymore. Volt Crypto. Volt Crypto, are you in the chat? Volt Crypto, are you in the chat? There he is. Congratulations. 300K Apex account. Congratulations, Volt Crypto. Man, look at this thing go. I was just one entry too early here, man. I am that is just happens. I'm still fuming over that, guys. Still fuming over that. That's all good. It's part of the game. Volt Crypto, congratulations. All right, we got one more giveaway for the TradeZella account giveaway. Stock Market Dog. Stock Market Dog. Congratulations. Let me know if you're here in the chat. This thing's just going to blast all the way to 6,900 now. Can't chase it. Can't chase it. Close the chart. I sure want to. Close it with a baseball bat on my screen. Oh man, it happens to all of us, guys. It's just part of the game. Happens. Stock Market Dog. There he is. Stock Market Dog, congratulations. Congratulations. Head over to the Chart Fanatics Discord to go ahead and claim that in the giveaways channel. Follow the instructions there. Congratulations. All right, guys. So what's next? Let's take a look at the charts to see what to watch for going forward. Loved that trade setup. Target now hit. Missed it on the second reentry. It's all good. It's all good. All right. The reality is we're just barely kind of breaking over this kind of key area from the pre-market here, retracing a little bit of that selling. That's why I was looking to use that as a target here at the breakout of the highs. So let's go back and check out the volume profiles. Let's see what's going on here. So this is actually an interesting kind of spot. I'm not saying I'm going to fade this here, but please follow the instructions in the support channel on Discord to claim your prize within 24 hours. Just a heads up. So what happened here? Let's take a look. Like I said this morning in my pre-market game plan, we had this area where there was all of this aggressive buying after this consolidation period, right? So this was what I would call a demand zone, right? Because price consolidated here at this low, failed to break lower, and then we had aggressive rally out of there. So we know there are buyers here. Aggressive buyers accumulated, or sorry, passive buyers accumulated, aggressive buyers rallied out of there. So that's a demand zone, right? So price sold off, we dropped back into here. We quickly wicked down, did not transact a lot of volume there, bounced back up and consolidated here again, right? So building a lot of volume. Passive and aggressive buyers accumulated price there, and we're now rallying back out of there again. Now the question is, does it hit continuation, right, for a new trending move, or does it just turn into a relief bounce that gets sold into and we come back down there again? That is what I'm watching out for, right? One way or the other. So couple key spots that I'm watching is, one, we see this little low volume area here. That's kind of, it's not as key as like a low volume node from a time frame like during regular trading hours, because this was just Asia session here after the reopen last night. Yeah, we traded through it, didn't transact a lot of volume there. We kind of actually look at the structure on the 30-minute chart here. We broke through it, retested, and then continued lower. So it is, and this is a 30-minute chart. So spent some time there breaking and retest and failing. So that is a key spot here, actually, because of that. One, low volume node here on the breakdown. And two, you can see how we had a base drop there on the 30-minute. So key spot there. Again, I was looking at my trade, I was looking to long the break of this consolidation and use this area as a target. Again, that was the idea there. So now we're coming up here. I don't really want to, fade the momentum too much here, but it's a key point to watch. Does price now reverse back down from here, or do we break out and continue? The next spots above that I would watch is just the prior highs, and then up here specifically above these prior highs, we have another low volume node right there, right? So that coincided with this last area where we had all this volume built up that we then sold off from. So, right. So this kind of volume build up here, not super clean, we kind of trended up there, right? Chopped and grind up there, and then, flattened out again and rejected. But it is kind of the value area low right there where we broke back under, and then we had a low volume node in there as well. So that's just the next key spots that I would watch to the upside. Then this area specifically here, low volume node, we had a base drop from there as well. That's a key spot that I would watch. To the downside, I would watch this area around the point of control here. There's a lot of people there, right? Look at all the volume. So we know there's a lot of people built there. So I would watch this area here around there, right? Do we pull back and hold there and come back up? Do we pull back and just kind of chop into the close on a Friday? Probably, maybe, we'll see. So that's the next area that I would watch to the downside is there, right? If we do break below there and we get an exceptional amount of weakness come back in the market, then we could break through this demand zone and we could, break down towards 6,800. So those are a few scenarios that could possibly play out today. Again, right now we're at the lows of this balance range from the past 2 weeks. This is a demand area where a lot of buyers are factored in. We rallied out of it. We built a lot of volume here again. Again, buyers rallied out of there. Now it's just a matter of, if we pull back again, do buyers hold it and we continue to either go sideways or back up into the highs? It's getting a little late in the day for that here. But we'll see. Or if we do drop back down there, do we fail to hold that demand zone now and kind of break through it, right? So those are kind of a few key areas here that I would watch going forward today. Make sense, guys? Drop that in the Chart Fanatics Discord. I'll be honest with you guys, speaking of capital preservation Fridays, I generally like to see a bit of volatility earlier in the day on a Friday for base hits. I really just historically do not love trading late into the day on a Friday. More often than not, I just regret the mental capital of watching choppy price action on a Friday into the afternoon. So that's probably a wrap for my trading today, guys. Honestly, it was a good attempt, I think, good trade. Actually, it replayed again and the target would have been hit on that second time. Just resulted in a break even today. That's just part of the probabilities game. Some trades will go 75% of the way to your target, come back break even like they did today. Some trades will hit your full target. Some trades will hit multiple targets, and some trades will just be an immediate stop loss, right? That's just the game. It's not always guaranteed. But you just got to stay consistent, keep executing according to your plan, according to your system, and let the data play out over the long term. Albert, Fester, we're super past the giveaways now. Sorry, brother. All right, guys, enjoy your weekend. Thanks for tuning in here today. I'll see you guys back next Friday. Again, I would be cautious of volume and volatility dying out if we stay in the middle of this range going late into the day on a Friday. Those are the key areas that I'd watch going forward. especially on ES. You can see the screenshot in the Chart Fanatics Discord if you guys want to review that. Till next week, have a good one, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.